Welcome everybody to today where we celebrate the solemnity of the Assumption of our Blessed Virgin Mary. If we reflect upon the word Assumption, what comes to mind when we go to hear the word Assumption? Notice that right when Mary had accepted the calling from God, Mary had remained faithful to the point where she was very, very close to God, to the point where she earned the title the Mother of God. And right when she passed from this life, notice that her body and her soul went directly up into heaven. And we know that Mary, the Mother of God, had bore the Son and named him Jesus, to the point where Jesus came so that he loved each and every one of us here. Reflecting upon the first reading for today, notice that there was this woman who had to bear a son, and then there was this dragon with 7 diadems, but then Mary came to the desert to bear a son. Now, why did Mary have to go into the desert? Why not go to any other places? Jesus had started off poor to the point where it indicates to each and every one of us that all of us can strive to continue to be loved to the point where the kingdom of heaven is opened up for each and every one of us here to be able to go through. And so this is the reason as to why Jesus was born in the manger right inside the barn. So each and every one of us, as we strive to continue to live forth our journey of faith, are called to continue to question ourselves. What exactly does God have planned for each and every one of us? Why did God put all of us what we have gone through? And Jesus made the answer very, very clear, to the point where it encourages each and every one of us here to be able to go and appreciate the life to which God had given to each and every one of us here. Only then and there will we be able to recognize the loving presence of God as God continues to help guide each and every one of us here. Notice that in today's Holy Gospel, notice how Mary went through the hill in haste to go and greet Elizabeth. Each and every one of us here, when we go to experience this calling from God, are called to do it in haste, so that each and every one of us here can go to recognize the loving presence of God as he continues to help strengthen each and every one of us here in our own faith. So each and every one of us have a journey to which all of us here are going through, and it is important for each and every one of us here to go and recall the numerous amount of times that God so loved each and every one of us here. That is one of the lessons to which Jesus wants to teach each and every one of us here in today's Holy Gospel. And right when Mary approached Elizabeth, notice that the infant in the womb was leaped with joy. Why is that? Because the Mother of God came, to the point where Elizabeth was really, really shocked, and therefore Mary continued to stay with Elizabeth for 3 months right before she returned back to her home. So each and every one of us here can sometimes encounter Jesus coming into our lives, to the point where we tend to want to question ourselves. Do we continue to make room for Jesus to come into our hearts? Do we allow ourselves to be able to fully communicate with Jesus, so that way Jesus can help lead each and every one of us here in the right direction? If we continue to allow Jesus into our hearts, we have to come to recognize that we have to continue to give up all of the things that leads us astray from Him, and we have to continue to follow the path of God, so that way Jesus can go to continue to speak to each and every one of us. For Jesus wants to continue to transform all of us, so that way all of us here can go to continue to feel love. So right when Jesus enters to each and every one of us, all of us here need to strive to continue to prepare a room. Think of it like this. We own a house, and if our house is filled with a lot of trash, people are not gonna not want to come and visit. But if our place looks very, very clean, to the point where it really serves as an attraction, then we can go to recognize that people will want to come to each and every one of us here more. Our hearts should be the same, where each and every one of us should strive to continue to make room for Jesus to come into our hearts, so that way each and every one of us here can strive to continue to allow ourselves to listen to the voice of Jesus as He continues to want to spread His love to each and every one of us here. So as we continue to commemorate the Assumption of our Blessed Virgin Mary, notice it is a time for each and every one of us here to recall our life events on where we are heading. For each and every one of us here are going to have a time where we were given birth. All of us are going to have a time where we feel very joyful. All of us will have a time where we feel very stressed. All of us will have a time where we feel very, very ill within ourselves. All of us will have a time where we feel like we have recovered ourselves. All of us will also have a time where we are going to be deeply depressed because of the loss of a loved one. And all of us here will have a time to where all of us here are going to be looking after Jesus, for Him to come to each and every one of us here. And all of us here will have a time where we go to continue to pass from this life. So each and every one of us here go through these series of life events not as an indication of torture, but God loved each and every one of us, and He wants to reveal Himself to each and every one of us through the life situations to which each and every one of us here are going through, so that way we can go to continue to recognize how is God working through each and every one of us in numerous amounts of times. So each and every one of us here are called to continue to be made aware of all of the events, all of the things that are happening throughout our life, so that way each and every one of us here can go to continue to recognize His love as we continue to progress throughout our journey of faith. So today, notice that Mary's body and soul went into heaven. So each and every one of us here are called to continue to think about our own life situations to which we are at this very current moment, and really consider, how is God working through each and every one of us? What can we strive to do in order for us to be able to make room for Jesus to come into our hearts? Because in all of the moments to which we are stressed, sometimes we let our stress get in the way of allowing Jesus to continue to communicate to each and every one of us here. Jesus desires mercy, not sacrifice. Jesus continues to desire all of the love to which we brought forth to him, so he desires our own hearts. So each and every one of us here should strive to continue to offer ourselves up to Jesus. And if there's anything that we may have against our brothers and sisters, now would be a very good time to go and reconcile before the Lord. So that way we can bring other people closer to God. For we cannot love God if we do not love our neighbors as ourselves. Thank you to each and every one of you guys for taking the time to listen to this reflection, and for more videos like this, please consider liking and subscribing and commenting down below any questions that you may have about the faith. Thank you.